Okay, so in this video, I'm just kind of going to be going over my strategies for the high score contest because I know some people are asking about it, and we'll see how this goes. So, kind of the first thing to note is we basically will be going with the Bard character, which is basically the best character for this kind of thing. Just something to note is I have the Bard maxed out as a specific character, and I also have all the weapons maxed out. You don't strictly need to do this, but it does give you probably an extra like couple percent of total enemies you can defeat in a round. I got pretty close to this high score I got with no damage at all, so it's not too bad. And then one thing to note, we're going to be looking for a certain set of weapons. On the weapon side, you definitely want the Hummingbird and the laser lamp. From there, you kind of have a few options. Late in the game, which is kind of what we're really building for, there's going to be a ton of enemies on screen, and you're kind of going to be running through them fast and furious. So I like to get weapons that will kind of do some damage to nearby enemies to kind of help you clear your path. So I tend to go with the Rodent's Revenge, and then for randomness, I will typically grab the Clockwork Launcher just because it does decent damage. Then on the item side, we need to get the focus lens, which we'll grab here. I like to get the Mighty Bull and the Gold Teeth for kind of maximum damage. And then the last item you get is also kind of choose your own adventure. I tend to stick with the Cup of Coffee because I just find moving around faster helps. We can just grab this now. Something else to know, if you think you might not have like the best build going, is the significant majority of the like total number of kills you'll get for any run is going to happen in the last like 90 seconds of the run when you get the full upgrade. This is good. So we've got at least the lamp, and then so with the lamp, just kind of you'll eventually get a bit of a rhythm for when it spawns. So one thing that I've found works pretty well for enemy spawns is kind of staying near the edge of the screen. I don't quite know how, but it definitely seems like it's a little bit you just seem to end up with more enemies when you're kind of sticking to the edge of the screen. This will become a little bit more obvious later. I initially thought that probably that staying in the middle would be a little bit better, but there may be something with enemies just have to run to the middle, which takes some time versus the edge where they just kind of immediately show up there. But I don't actually know. It's just something that I kind of observed and worked for me. So the first probably 2/3 of this run is relatively quiet. We're really just trying to take out some enemies and kind of get the required bits that we need for the late game. So sometimes what I've done is kind of taken note of like how many kills I have at like at the 5 minute and 10 minute mark, and it's not much. I want to say usually around the 5 or 10 minute mark you'll have like maybe 1,000 kills, so you won't have much, and then even by the like almost end of the run you only have a couple thousand. It all really comes in the last like minute or two. I'll grab this for now. So Mighty Bull and Gold Teeth are both things that I like to get because kind of just aiming for maximum damage. I tend to aim for, I didn't aim for generally maxing the weapons out a little bit earlier than the upgrades, but it all kind of depends. Okay, so Hummingbirds is the other kind of required item that you want to get on the weapon side. So, so like I said, the lantern and the hummingbirds are basically required on the weapon side. The others you can kind of choose your own adventure. Like you could get the fist. So I like to grab the cup of coffee just because I like being able to kind of move around super quick. So that's pretty good. So basically, we kind of on track for a build that I really like to get, and on track for basically the build that I got the high score with. So we're on off to a pretty good start. But yeah, so usually besides the hummingbird and the lanterns, it is a little bit of kind of you can kind of choose whatever you want for your last items. But yeah, the other thing that is kind of important towards the end of the game, because most of your kills are going to come when you're fully maxed up at the end, trying to get into the kind of upgrade circle towards the end of the game as quickly as possible will actually make a decent amount of increase in your ability to kill more enemies. Just like if you have the final upgrade for an additional 5, 10, 15 seconds, you're just going to be able to defeat that many more enemies. So that's probably one of the biggest deciders on if the run makes it or not. I'm just doing some I was gonna hope to see if I could get one of the other items that we need, but yeah, so at the end of the game, trying to get into that last circle as quickly as possible will actually make a decent difference in the total number of enemies you can take out. Okay, so now we got gold teeth, so we're good on the equipment side. Like I said, we're approaching 5 minutes in, and we're kind of only at 500 kills. So yeah. So hummingbirds and the lantern are probably the first priority for what you want to try and grab and get upgraded, and then you can kind of adjust from there. Yeah, you'll know that I kind of have a good sense of when the lantern is going to spawn, and just kind of using that to basically make sure it's facing the direction I want it to, because once it goes out, you really only have some slight control over it. So this becomes a little bit more important towards the end of the game, because you really need to be able to clear out enemies in a certain direction. So pretty good. Still waiting for that last item we're gonna try and get. So I found that even early game, staying in the corners still seemed to somehow give you a little bit more enemies to deal with. Okay, cool. So now we got the rodents for rent. So now basically the build is good. And now it's just kind of going to be going through. But yeah, so we're just about on schedule with, right around 10 minutes and only at, just passing 1,000 kills. So. So my whole thing is I like to basically try and max DPM as I'm upgrading. So like that's an example where the lantern kind of came out facing the wrong direction. So yeah, so now it's just kind of running through and grabbing all your upgrades until you kind of end up at the last upgrade, and then it kind of really gets pretty gnarly. So yeah, just once again trying to stay near the edges. So yeah, you're kind of for me, because I don't the Clockwork Launcher is just kind of like a bonus weapon, but I don't really have much control of it. That's usually among the last bit that I'll upgrade. So typically, it's mostly focusing on the DPM stuff that I control, and then because in theory you don't want to get hit a whole lot. The Rodent's Revenge is something that I'll typically update or upgrade a little bit later as well. So. Yeah, you can see we're past halfway on the total time, and we're only at about just gonna be crossing 3,000 kills. So it all comes right at the end. So the nice thing is the Hummingbirds do a great job of dealing anything close. Like if you end up with the lantern kind of coming out in a direction you don't want to be running, the birds will kind of help cover that. So that's kind of why those two are basically mandatory, and the rest you can kind of do whatever feels right for you. But so I got basically all the DPM stuff maxed out at this point, so then it's just kind of filling in everything else. Again, I picked speed just because kind of being able to get in little gaps and stuff like that, and just covering more ground. But when we're kind of into like real late game, you'll see I'll probably be covering an awful lot of ground. Yeah, so we're probably going to be around 5,000 kills around 5 minutes to go. you can kind of already see the fact that, you know, we're in the middle of the level right now, and there's a lot of enemies on both sides, but not as many in the middle, so... Trying to leave watermelons around when I can, so that way if you end up in a pinch towards the end, you have a little bit more health options. Yeah, so we're just about maxed. So it's really just kind of just constantly trying to maximize the amount of crowds you're running into. Alright, so that's the last weapon upgrade. So basically kind of combining using the lantern to kind of destroy what's in front a little bit, and then, you know, if you've got any enemies off to the side, you can use the Hummingbirds to kind of deal with that. And then the Clockwork Launcher is just getting some random kills at this point. Okay, so now got unlucky with pretty much the spawn of that as far on the other side of the map as possible, but we'll grab this and then head up to the top corner. That's just where I like kind of doing the end game from, but you can see, like, you know, the quickest you can get is around 255, so we're at 249 when we get this upgrade, which is not ideal, but you can see we're at 8,500 kills now. And this is kind of where it really starts to go a little bit crazy. So. So now we're basically paying attention to the lantern, the Hummingbirds, and the combined, the upgraded Bard attack, which basically just kind of shoots across the screen. So that's where the Rodent comes in, because basically we just never want to stop moving. And that's where also leaving some of the watermelons around can be helpful. So you can kind of see the way I'm timing it a little bit is like once the lantern comes out, I kind of do a sweep back and then head over to the right, and then once it kind of comes out again, I sweep back again. So you kind of eventually start to figure out the rhythm of the spawning of all this, which kind of helps. So you can see the lantern did not quite come out at the best angle there, so I'm just gonna try and reset my pattern a little bit, and there we go. Ooh, yeah. Well, that's a new high score for me, so that's pretty cool. And then now we just kind of have the boss fight, and oh, I've had this happen once before, but oh. Well, there we go. An interesting end to that. But cool, yeah. So that's basically the high score strat. I assume something has changed since the competition because this is like 4,000 kills higher. But cool. Hope you guys, hope that was helpful. Yeah, really like the game. It's really fun. Cool. All right. Thanks. And I will catch you all later. Bye.